reading Stories of the Saints
by Carrie Wallace and illustrated by Nick Thornborough. Today we are reading Bridget of Ireland. She lived from 451 to 525. Location, Ireland. Emblem, cross of weeds. Lamp, candle, cow. Patron of blacksmiths, brewers, children whose parents are not married, children with harsh fathers, fugitives, poets, the poor, printing presses, Ireland. Feast day, February 1st.
Bridget, the farmer fumed. Bring me a basket of butter. Hidden in a corner, Bridget trembled. She and the farmer both knew that there wasn't any butter left anywhere in the whole dairy. Bridget was just a young girl, but she'd lived in the dairy all her life because her mother was a dairy maid. And ever since Bridget was old enough, she'd done anything she could do to help. But she also did something else. Bridget had a tender heart, and whenever she saw a person who needed something, she gave them anything she could. She was always giving away the dairy farmer's milk and cream and cheese. Today, she had given away all the butter in the dairy, piles and piles of it. The farmer caught sight of a long line of people going by, their arms filled with butter, and he guessed what Bridget was up to. That's why he had demanded she bring him the basket of butter. Bridget didn't know what he might do if she didn't bring him any, but she had already given all the butter away. So she began to pray to God for help. She scampered off to get the big empty butter basket, praying and praying. When she carried the basket back to the farmer, he gave her a stern look. Then he lifted the lid. And the basket was filled to the brim with butter. Bridget's father was an Irish chieftain. And one day he decided that she should come to live with him instead of working at the dairy. But he soon discovered that Bridget was always giving his things away, just like she gave away the butter at the dairy. Bridget's father didn't like this any more than the dairy farmer did. So her father decided he'd take her to the king and let the king deal with her. When they got to the king's court, Bridget's father stopped outside and took off his beautiful jeweled sword. "I want the king to know I come in peace," he said, and gave Bridget the sword. "Keep this for me while I go in." Then he went inside to meet the king. While Bridget was waiting in the street, a man came by begging. "Please," he said, "can you help me?" Bridget didn't have any money of her own, so she gave him her father's sword. As soon as the beggar ran off, rejoicing over his expensive gift, her father came outside with the king. "What have you done with my sword?" he demanded, exasperated. "You gave it away, didn't you?" But the king was touched by Bridget's kindness. "You should set your daughter free to do what she wishes," he said. "She pleases God more than you or me." So Bridget's father set her free. She and the king became friends, and when Bridget grew up, she decided she wanted to start a pair of monasteries in Kildare, where people could live together and serve the poor. She even found the perfect spot of land to build her monasteries in a forest near a lake. So she took the king there to see it, with some of the women who wanted to join her. "If we lived here," she told him, "we'd have everything we need, wood from the forest and water from the lake." Years ago, the king had been touched when Bridget gave away her father's sword. But he didn't like the idea of giving away his own land now. So he just laughed. "Ha, that's a pretty dream," he said, "but this is my land." Bridget said a secret prayer in her heart for God to change the king's mind. Then she smiled. "What about this?" she said. "Would you give me as much land as my cloak will cover?" The king looked at Bridget's cloak. It was made of beautiful purple fabric, but it wasn't very big. It looked like it wouldn't cover much ground at all. "I'll give you any land you can cover with your cloak," he said. Bridget turned to the women who were with her. "Sisters," she said, "take my cloak." 4 women took hold of the 4 corners of Bridget's cloak. Then they turned in 4 different directions and began to run. To the king's horror, the cloak stretched and stretched as the women ran. The farther the women went, the bigger it got, until it almost covered the whole kingdom. "Bridget!" the king exclaimed. "What are you doing? Tell them to come back. I'll give you your land." Bridget started her monasteries on that very spot. You think I should show the picture?
Yeah.
Yes. Here is the picture of the cloak spreading out. Can they see it, Cecilia? The women and men who lived there became famous for making beautiful things, wood carvings and wonderful metalwork. But they were most famous for making the Book of Kildare, full of wonderful pictures of the life of Jesus. The night before the scribe was supposed to begin drawing the Book of Kildare, an angel appeared to him in his sleep, holding a tablet with the most beautiful picture the scribe had ever seen. "This is the first page of your new book," the angel told him. The scribe couldn't believe he could ever make anything so beautiful. "I don't think I can draw that when I wake up," he told the angel. "Ask Bridget to pray for you," the angel said. So the scribe did. And when he sat down at his desk, he painted the fantastic image the angel had shown him in his dream, just as he had seen it. Every day Bridget prayed for the scribe's work. And every night the angel appeared to him, showing him strange and wonderful new pictures. And when the scribe was done, the book Bridget had prayed for was known everywhere as the most beautiful book in the world.
The end.
The end.